everyone, welcome again to another edition of the Whole A Dynasty Forum. And if you've seen the last video, I know you want to see this one, right? So because this one is going to be about marriage, long distance relationship, and everything around that. And I know everyone wants to hear about marriage, love. All right, so we still have Dr. Tunji Odumosu with us. He, like we said in our previous episode, is our big brother, he's a mentor. We look up to him really, and he's a Christian, a father to two beautiful children, and of course a husband to a beautiful woman. All right, my name is Tolu.
And my name is Anthony. Dr. Tunji Odumosu is an internist. For those who don't know what that means, it means someone who specializes in internal medicine. So, but today we're going to be exploring more about his, experiences as a father, as a husband, and as a sweetheart to his wife, So we just want to ask you, sir, balancing the career and the family life. I mean, what does it take to put those things together? Being a father, a medical doctor, and an amazing husband. What does it take to put all these things together?
Because we see it.
Well, thanks for having me on again. It's now. Would help me out with this. Okay, so the thing is, we're all built differently, right? But we have God's word as a standard and a yardstick, where if we use the word as our standard, then everybody is conforming to Christ, right? So it's not that no, that's just me. No. Does it conform to that? So if it doesn't conform to that, don't just accept it as being okay. So I can't do two things at once, or I just don't like. I'm not a morning person, or I'm not a night person, or I don't like this, or I don't like that. Yeah, that's we've heard that. But how does that conform to what the word says? And the more flesh, and everybody has flesh, the more flesh we allow, which is being carnal, we allow in our lives, the more problems we're going to get. So in balancing everything, to me, it's not so much as balance. I don't, to be honest, I don't think about it. The way I process things is, does it need to be done? If the answer is yes, just do it.
Just get it done.
My family is here in St. John's, as you're aware. I still work in Burin, which is about 3 hours away. And I know that my children still need me, and my wife, they need me to still be supportive, to be there, to take them to the movies. We play football together, we play games, they talk to me. When I come, I help my wife around the house and do certain things. So for me, when I'm not on call, I'm driving the 3 hours down just to do that, and then I'll just drive back 3 hours. I'm not thinking about the journey. It's just something that needs to be done. So if I don't think about it, if I see it as what is required of me, because the word says that is what I'm supposed to do as a father, supposed to train those children, make sure that they do what they're supposed to do, to make sure that when mom is saying something and they're taking longer, dad has to put his own voice to it, so that they know that there is no wiggle room, right? And not just the saying, they need to see you. So they're hearing testimonies of how dad got into medicine. They're hearing testimonies of how the Lord healed this. When they are hurting, they come to us. We lay hands on them. They are better after you lay hands on them. So they're seeing all of that. And So for me, the juggling part, it's just I just don't think about it.
Yeah.
So when it's time to go to work, I'm at work, I'm doing my thing, and once I'm done with work, then it's what's next. You know, if I'm at work and they need something, okay, it's there. I'm conscious that that needs to be done. So as soon as I get a chance, I'm getting to that. And we need grace for that. Grace, simply put, is just God's help. And every role that we're at, there's already grace for it. There's grace for being a dad. There's grace for being a mom. There's grace for being a wife. There's grace for being a husband. There's grace for being parents. So when we trust the Lord and we act in faith, meaning I already believe the Lord has strengthened me and graced me for this, so I just do it. The strength comes. But if I have to dread it
before I do it,
man, I have to go and pick up, I have to do this, then the faith can't work. People think faith is a movement. People think faith is just a message. It is not. Your prayers won't work without faith. Walking in love won't work without faith. Just like faith won't work without love. You cannot please God without faith. He didn't say without prayer or fasting or going to church you can't please God. Those things are important, but the Bible was clear when it says without faith it is impossible to please God, because everything that God does for us, He never does it because you put in the time. It's by grace.
That's really powerful, sir, because most people look at it in this way and say, oh, well, I just go into it, I see if it works out, and if it doesn't work, it just back out. So if you can make a comment on, what are the intentional, choices, sacrifices, because marriage is all about hard work.
It is work.
Someone said recently that it's not the love that is really important, it's the choices that you make, because you can choose to love or not to. So what are the choices, the prices, the sacrifices that are key? Okay,
and now it's when you say it like that, it seems so intense. It's not. Go back to the Bible. The Bible says His commandments are not burdensome.
Yes.
What does that mean? Whatever He tells us to do, they are not hard. They're only hard when we have not decided to do them.
When the choice has not been made.
If I had not made up my mind to come here this morning, and I wake up and I have to go to this people's place today, then it becomes hard. But because I exercise, you said choice, right? That means your will. You've already made up your mind. This is what I'm going to do. It's not hard.
I think that's putting it very, very simply, right? To say, you just need to make that choice.
It's just getting to that place where you decide. Guess what? The devil cannot stop you when you decide. When I decided that, okay, I'm coming to Tunji and Tolu's house, or Anthony and Tolu's house, there was no way he could tempt me not to, because I already made up my mind. God can, but He won't. Because He has given you the freedom to choose.
Power to win.
Even though He has the ability, He has chosen to make it that way, that it's all your choice.
Exactly.
So if today, that's why you see the Lord is so wonderful. Any level you want to get to in Him, you'll be doing things that are not scriptural. Not wrong, but just not scriptural, because you don't have any more understanding, right? And yet, you get some results. Because He sees the heart. He knows that you truly want to love Him and do it. And because of that, He'll find a way to still bless you. But He expects you to grow.
And
know more. That is why eventually people always say, why is it when I got born again, when I pray like this, it just happens. But no, and then people think, it's because demons are multiplying. They are not multiplying. No.
Yeah.
It's because by now, he expects you to have known more and then be able to do it differently.
Yeah.
But when things are not the way they are going, rather than people looking at why, they now pray harder, thinking we have to press more. When you do that, eventually, God is not keeping anything from us. No. He loves us. Why would I make things hard for my kids? No.
Yeah.
So to answer your question about choices in marriage, it all boils down to, are you willing to, on a regular basis, on a moment by moment basis, choose to do what the Lord tells you as a wife to do, or as a husband, or as a father to do? When I was getting married, I told my wife, I said, look, I have no romanticized ideas about marriage or children. I'm a romantic. My guy will tell you that. I'm not going to toot my own horn, but I think I pull my own weight. But when I say I have no romanticized ideas, when we got married, we didn't do any white, they call it white. Talking about, flowing gown, church. We didn't do any of that.
6 people.
We just went to I told you, I said, the word of God is going to be it's going to be our final stop. If we see it there, that's what we're going to do. It's being challenged. We all have flesh. But thank God, that has always been what, no matter how far you stray, if that's your standard, that's what you come to.
Yeah.
So for me, from jump, I knew that this marriage, this is work. Right? It's not this all about emotions. Emotions are good. The good ones are. God gave it to us because that's how He is.
Yeah.
But it's not going to be one that will be made based on that. Decisions can't be made by emotions, right? So, I didn't have the big wedding, first of all, because I didn't have money at the time. I was a resident, I was doing my training, so my entire wedding was $3,000 US. The whole thing. I'm talking with the catering, the venue, the ring, everything was on a budget.
That's good to hear.
Because I told her, I said, girl, I feel you. I know this is what you've always wanted. Everybody there throwing confettis and everything.
Yeah.
I can't afford that stuff. And we're not going to start in debt. So look, I love you. You love me. We have Jesus. We're good to go.
Sorry to jump in. How were you able to convince her? Because I've heard stories of people saying, no, it's just a one day thing in a lifetime. It gotta be beautiful. We have to spend money and
you see, that's why when we started this, I said people are individuals, right?
Yeah.
And the Lord would help us in getting people who will be reasonable.
Yeah.
Do you understand?
Yeah.
Because if you have the money, why not? Jumoke has been going on and on about, you still owe me that. I say, I know. And I have no problem with that, but you know what's up, right? We still got a lot of things to do. Once all that is sorted, but she's a trooper, and that's the key thing, right? That's where the emotion part comes in. What does the word have to say about that? The Bible says in James that where there is strife, there's confusion and every evil work. Will you, because you didn't have your way of wearing a gown that one day, now decide to violate what the word says? Come on. And it's not because this guy has, he just doesn't want to do it. You just don't have it. So will I? I've never been one to be pressured by people's expectation. I thank God for that. I could care less. One thing that helped me was my confession for years when I was growing up. When I say growing up, I'm talking about after I got saved as a teenager, even in university, was I choose to be different. I just said it. Even my best friend is, you're always saying you choose to be different, because I refuse to conform.
Yeah.
Right? So that helped my thinking. I could care less what the family is saying, what people are saying. No. Question is, what are we gonna do? Is this good for us? Is this what the Lord is saying? Then let's go. When I was living in New York, my family wasn't for it. They were vehemently against it. But I knew I had to go. The Lord saying go. Your wife is okay with it. We going. They came around later. They're lovely people. And the reason they didn't want me to go was out of love for me.
Exactly.
Because they were like, what are you going to? But you see, they don't know what you know. Right? So you can't do that. So going back to what we were talking about, it depends on who you're with. So you guys, it's all about what is that standard. The standard is no strife. So are you now? Thank God we've done 14 years.
Wow.
And it's thank God. And I told her from day one, I said, the way I approach marriage, I don't think about the future of the marriage. Right from jump, the Lord helped me see that. I'm not thinking, will I be married to this person in 5 years, 10 years? Will I still be the same person in the next 5 years? No. I'm only married now. Not even a day. In the moment.
One moment.
I'm not thinking about the day. Jesus said, sufficient for the day is his troubles thereof. I mean, tomorrow will take care of itself. So I'm not thinking about, will I be married? Man. So it's just the same person I'll be waking up to for the rest of my life. You already breaking the rules. Choices in the moment. I'm married now. I'm not thinking about my wife 24/7 and everything. I'm married now. And about choices, one thing also that has helped us, because that's one of the things that you said we're going to talk about, is we allow each other to just be.
Thank you.
Allow your spouse to be.
She's not into watching movies like I am, and I'm not into writing. She journals, she does all that stuff. So she goes, sometimes we're at home, we may not talk for hours in the same house. Not that we're fighting, we're just enjoying our own space and doing our own thing. I'm not fussing. Why is she not joining me? Why is she not doing? No, and she's not like, he didn't even. So occasionally she could just text or say, babe, how you doing? Are you okay? Yeah, I'm good. And when I notice that, okay, something is amiss, I do it. Now, like I said, we all have flesh. So there are times when I've backslidden on this issue, where you start to think, why is this not done? Or why is that not done? And after a while, the Holy Ghost in you will help you recalibrate back to, if you think it needs to be done, then do it. No strife. And this is an ongoing, you see why I said love is the debt, that it's a choice. It doesn't keep record of wrong. And people think, they just said that place in weddings, and they think that is a powerful chapter. Which, if you dedicate your life, there's no way you're going to walk in love and you'll not pray now. Because if you love God, you want to talk to Him. And when I'm talking to Him, I'm just talking to Him. 24/7, not 24/7, it's a running commentary. I get in the car, and then He's communicating to you, you're communicating to Him, He's telling you something, reminding you of something, and I will thank you, Lord. And that's prayer. It's a conversation. Right? And then at times when you take a lengthy prayer where you just talk and you do all of that, but it's that love thing. So it always comes back to that. A preacher once said something, that it is not my business whether my wife loves me or not.
I think we need to stress this. we need because we need to really stress this because people like, oh, she doesn't submit to me, she doesn't do this. Like, have you focused on what the commandment was to you?
And that is why flesh is the main problem in all of our lives as Christians. I believe we're addressing Christians. I have no business advising unbelievers. God deals with them, because we're talking from the perspective of the word. Yeah. That is the challenge for each and every one of us, is to stay in our lane.
Yeah.
One thing that I'm battling with, and it's an ongoing thing, is the need, or to resist the need to correct Jumoke. All the time. You see something is not right, and she's doing, to see the need to just volunteer a correction. Why? Did she ask for it? I mean, if it's something that will hurt her, of course, that's different.
Yeah.
But, babe, I noticed that you're no longer doing this. I mean, just recently, it's something that has happened that the Lord had to help me recalibrate. And that is the thing, right? And the problem, one of the problems is because we live with each other.
Yeah.
So outsiders, you guys are telling me that I'm the nicest thing since sliced bread. Jumoke is watching and thinking, Tunji.
Is that my husband?
No, I mean, she loves me and she appreciates me and everything. But Jesus said it, that a prophet is not without honor except in his own house.
Yeah.
Jesus said that.
Yeah.
And it's not that hard to figure out, because this person lives with you. They see you at your weakest moment.
Yeah.
When you make that dumb decision that things go wrong and everything, and then they have to pick up, or when you are not in the spirit, and then you do certain things, and then you get to church and they're like, oh, brother Tunji, and then she's like, really? So or they say, Sister Jimmy, and everybody's like, Jimmy, and I'm like, because the devil is there all the time. To whisper that nonsense into our ears. You are not the one generating it, because a good tree cannot produce a bad fruit. So you cannot bring about a bad thought from within you as a Christian. The enemy will plant that seed. Say, if only you people knew. You understand what I'm saying? And that is an ongoing challenge in a marriage, that you work on not correcting her. So I've told you a million times, I don't like these things being here. I want it here. So that should tell you something. If you've had to tell her a million times, it's not working. And if it bothers you so much, do it.
Get it done.
And I've had times when I've actually gone back to just getting in the flesh, and then you miss out on these things, and then you find yourself doing those things again. And the way you know that you're off is that you lose your joy. Just all around the house, you're like,
being grumpy.
Just grumpy. Your peace is gone, your joy is gone. You're not just your usual self. Something is wrong. And when that is happening, you just need to call yourself to order. And it's that honesty. You can't con God. You can't deceive him. And deceive people, you can't deceive him. So if we're serious about this thing, I told Jumoke, I said, look, it's not just about you. I have to answer to him. So the things I'm doing is not just because I don't want trouble in hand and say happy wife, happy home. That's not a scripture. I don't like that thing. Mama ain't happy. Nobody. No, mama needs to get saved. Mama needs Jesus.
Mama needs Jesus.
Mama needs to be sanctified and filled with the Holy Ghost and comply with the word. Why would the house's happiness hang on mama's happiness? No, mama too needs Jesus, just like daddy needs Jesus. We all need Jesus. Right? We all need Jesus. Like in real time. Not I was saved. No, I'm like, So the thing is, it's an ongoing thing. So with the children too, I told you, I said, look, I'm not about this, oh, they're so cute, For me, from start, I knew it's going to be work. That's why when we had a dancer, I was done.
I know that you're already shaking some tables because for a man to even be saying that, right?
Yeah.
An African descent,
done.
right?
Because for me, it's not just that you need to train them, and they are growing up in a time that is different from when I grew up. So when I was growing up, all our parents had to do was just pop us out.
Yeah.
The community you just grew up.
Yeah.
They didn't even know how you were growing up.
Yeah.
You were just growing up.
And some people still believe that because they have the impression that
It's
they don't know the one that will take care of
world
them.
is not the
Using
same.
them as a retirement plan.
No, it's not the same. Now they have to contend with ideals and ideas that were completely alien to us when we were growing up. And it's the responsibility of the parents to dedicate time to teach them at home, rather than all this fight about we have to ban this in school. No, you train your children at home so that when they go to school, they already know that is not, we don't do that. That is not okay. You don't go, you don't fight people, you don't do it on it, you don't argue, you don't do all of that, but you know within yourself that they may be doing that, but this is what the word says we should do. That takes time.
Yes, sir.
How do you monitor 5, 6? I mean, I'm not, if you already have children, the Lord bless you. I'm talking about people who are about to get into it, right?
Yeah.
So for me, I never, right from the start, I knew it was work. I have to write out confessions for them, tailor-made for her dancer, depending on what she's going through. I have to teach her the word. I have to make sure she's reading her Bible. I have to make sure, and then you are watching her. You know, you're watching TV, you are checking with this corner of your eye. She's doing something she shouldn't be doing. You have to be listening, watching, and checking in your heart. And you're doing that, it takes focus.
Yes, sir.
Yeah.
So with her, I was like, okay. So when Jumoke was like, I know, let's have another one. I was like, look, I'm not there yet. And thank God she didn't pressure me, and everything. I promised her that I was going to pray about it. And I did. There's no, don't lie. You're not going to pray about it. Don't say you're going to pray. It's true. It's true.
Don't say that to discharge you.
Yeah, my mom, her mom, everybody was, no, sure, this is just one child. So I prayed about it and I asked the Lord, help me to get there, because I'm not there, and He did. It got to where I was like, I think we can do this.
Let's do.
And then we did, and Ethan came along, and after Ethan, you know the story. I just closed the shop.
Something's closed.
I burnt the factory. I didn't let her do anything. She's taking 2 for the team. Pregnancy does something to a woman, so I took 1 for the team, right? Because I'm like, no mistake done. Because I knew this is work. So it's not just about the next time, because then they grow up.
Exactly.
And these beings can choose to go to heaven or hell. It's not guaranteed. So I have to do everything in my own power according as the Lord enables me to make sure that I did everything He told me to do from the word for them. And then trust Him that they would choose right. But even if they are not, I still have faith that they will eventually, because train up a child in the way that it should go, when it grows it will not depart from it. That is my faith, that is what I believe. But if I did not invest the time, it says mothers, Titus, that the young mothers, they love their children, they love their husbands, and they keep the home. There is no way you can say you are doing ministry. Brother Hagin used to say this. You can't. The same Bible that tells you to pray is the same Bible that told you to do that.
Yeah.
And the Lord knows you have 24 hours in a day. And He expects you to do all that. Then there must be a meeting point somewhere.
Yeah.
So if I say I'm praying all the time, to the Lord's ministry. And my children don't have my attention. My husband does not have my attention. The home does not have my attention. There's a failure somewhere. Right? So there has to be, I mean, if it's for a season, right? Then the husband can pick up the side. But if it's like that all the time, right? So Jumoke decided when we got married that while the children were still young, and thank God, because of the job that I was doing, and you've heard from the previous session that it didn't just drop. The Lord had to help me, and faith and all that got us there, that she couldn't decide not to work. So she was like, look, I've seen enough of this. A parent has to be there. And if both parents are not there because of circumstances, because both of you need to work, you still need to make sure that when you are not working, you are now fully there. Yeah.
Well, and I think I just want to say that, well, you can't even give what you don't have, right?
Yes.
So, and I'm also happy that you mentioned that she decided.
Yeah.
It was her choice.
Not that she was coerced.
Oh, no. That's the one thing, I mean, well, that one. If she says I don't, she's lying. I've never been one to tell her what to do or what not to do. Never. I wasn't trained like that, and I wasn't brought up like that, and the word doesn't even allow me to do that. Because no, you don't want to do that. The Bible says whatsoever is not of faith is sin. That means you need to do things with conviction. You need to be convinced of what you're doing, and don't try and manipulate people into doing it too. And then say, you really like it. No. I mean, we're dealing with the Lord here. If you gotta be honest. You can't con him. You can deceive people. You can't deceive him. It's better you even be honest with him than let people think that you're not being honest with them. As long as that's fair good.
Wow.
So it's important.
It's been a wonderful time with Dr. Tunji Odumosu today. I've been so blessed, and I'm sure you have been so blessed as well. Doctor, did you have any final word for our audience?
Final word. What I'll say is, more than ever before, it's always been like that, but more than ever before, we need to learn how to be led by the Holy Spirit. It applies to everything, because you cannot box the Lord. You can't say this is how he does it. You can't assume to know that this is how. David, he always inquired, and then the Lord would say, go, go. It was easy. I mean, you've read that place. You could count the number of times the Lord told him to do exactly what he had in mind. He could easily have assumed that that's how the Lord does it. A podcast,
a ministry
on how to fight against the Philistines, because he has done that. And then the one time he has, the Lord said don't. Do you understand?
Yeah.
Paul, there are times when the Lord will tell them to get out of town, and then they will run when they want to beat them up. And there are other times when they will just stay there and allow themselves to be beaten. What's the difference? How do you know when to do what? It's all by the leading of the Holy Ghost. And that's just even for ministry. And I'm talking even in day-to-day life, right? I always have my coffee at Tim Hortons at 10:30. What if the devil has set up for you to have an accident at 10:29 and you're rushing to meet that schedule? You gotta be flexible. So in this day and age, with all the complexities of the mobile devices that are just intrusive, and everything is on the schedule, at 10:30 I have to do this, at 4:45 I have to do this. We need to be led and be flexible and be open.